the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Justice Department moving to cancel police reform settlements reached with two major cities.
The Justice Department has moved to cancel settlements with Minneapolis and Louisville, Kentucky that called for an overhaul of policing following the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Minneapolis in January approved a consent decree with the federal government in the final days of the Biden administration to overhaul its training and use of force policies under court supervision. That agreement required approval from a federal court, but the Trump administration told the court it doesn't intend to proceed. The administration also announced it's retracting the findings of Justice Department investigations into 6 other police departments that the Biden administration had accused of civil rights violations. Ron Taylor reporting.
Trump administration releasing people charged with being in the country illegally to non-governmental shelters along the border with Mexico. That after telling those organizations that providing migrants with temporary housing and other aid may violate a law used to prosecute smugglers. Breaking news and analysis. Town Hall.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your holiday weekend forecast. Clear, refreshingly cool tonight with a low temperature dipping to 56. Tomorrow, similar to today, a blend of sunshine and clouds to go with a high at 81. For Sunday, it's a 40% chance of afternoon showers, 84 the high. And for Memorial Day, mostly cloudy, afternoon storms are possible, 83 is the high. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk on a Friday night heading into the Memorial Day weekend. What a beautiful day it was in South Carolina. Made my way back into South Carolina. We're at the home studio tonight, so it's good to be with you back in South Carolina. Great day for the South Carolina softball team. We'll talk about that in a moment. Great night last night for the Clemson softball team. They got a big win at Texas. They go for the spot in the College World Series tonight out in Austin, Texas. Clemson baseball resting up today, the ACC tournament. They will play tomorrow, Georgia Tech, in the semifinals. And Matt Smith will join us in just a moment to talk more about Clemson and the ACC tournament. We'll hear from the Tigers postgame from last night. Of course, it's if you're a race fan, this is your weekend. You've got racing on Sunday from the early morning through the midday into the evening hours. We're going to talk with Jeff Owens about everything, in particular the Coca-Cola 600. We'll talk with him about that tonight. George Bryan III will join us. Birdies, bogeys, and biceps around South Carolina. Got a couple of guests coming up tonight, including we're going to talk about an announcement today at Wood Creek Farms in Columbia. They're going to be hosting a Corn Ferry Tour stop next year. So that's awesome for that particular club and for the city of Columbia and for the Midlands in general. Chris Baker, who will be the tournament director, will join us tonight with George. So that'll be coming up tonight at 7:35. So we are loaded, got a lot of news notes, of course, and some recruiting for you as well. A South Carolina target, defensive tackle from Jacksonville, Brian Harris. He committed to Oklahoma today, so he comes off the board. Let's welcome in Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace, who's been taking it all in this afternoon. How about those South Carolina women? UCLA has dominated them in softball when they've played, but not today.
Get into that. Let me get this off my chest until Jeff gets here to clarify some things. I'll be fascinated to hear his take. But you've got the Monaco Grand Prix that'll be run on ESPN on Sunday morning. Then you have the Indianapolis 500, which always appears to be on network television on ABC. And then NASCAR, in its infinite wisdom, is going to put its longest race of the year on the biggest racing day of the year on Prime Video. Good job, NASCAR. So won't get to watch the 600 for the first time in a long time. So well done,
you
guys.
can watch it if you subscribe to Prime Video.
Do you just answer my point? I'm not going to subscribe to Prime Video. Just so I can watch a NASCAR race.
Well,
what are they? Who's marketing that sport?
If you do that, you'll be able to get your Amazon packages delivered for free. You won't be charged a surcharge on the delivery. So why don't you kill two birds with one stone?
But when your fan base is probably the oldest fan base in all of sports, what are you doing putting it on Prime Video?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. I've already done the interview with Jeff because, believe it or not, Jeff has a youngster graduating from high school tonight.
Wow, good for him.
Last one out the house for him. He's happy about that, but we needed to go ahead and record that. So we've got that recorded, and we'll have that, of course, in the normal time slot. So looking forward to bringing that to you. Yeah, so absolutely.
I feel better being able to get that off my chest since I wasn't here to ask Josh about that on Tuesday as I was watching my eldest niece graduate from high school. But anyway, back to the Gamecocks today. Phil, that's as big a win as they could possibly have. You're talking about the bluest of blue bloods in all of softball. No program has won more national championships in softball than UCLA. They dominated them from the start. UCLA got a triple in the first inning, stranded the runner at third. Gamecocks come back with 3 in the bottom of the first, and it was over. I mean, they were the better team defensively. They pitched it well. They hit it well. Ended up winning 9-2 today. And that's as impressive an outing today as I think Ashley Chastain Woodard could have ever hoped for from her team. First ever super regional win in their first ever super regional hosting opportunity. And now they'll try and punch their ticket to get back to Oklahoma City at the Women's College World Series for the first time in 2 decades. I believe late 90s, the last time USC played in the College World Series. And you mentioned Clemson. Super win for them last night. They're trying to get to their first ever College World Series tonight if they could sweep the Longhorns on the road. So we might have 2 teams going to Oklahoma City and hopefully may have 2 teams out in Omaha as well.
Well, keep in mind that the Clemson program's only 5 years old?
5 or 6, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they've made great progress in their short time. Yeah, softball fever, catch it. Here in the state of South Carolina, it'd be cool to have 2 of them out there in Oklahoma City. But one win, a super regional champion does not make.
Right.
You still have work to do. Can't get caught up in that. Let's welcome in Matt Smith once again, been covering the ACC tournament. Tigers are off today, so Smitty's basically off today from that standpoint, but still on top of the Tigers, was there last night. That was a terrific baseball game. A lot of big plays both ways, a lot of offense, and Malstat came through there in the ninth and set the Wolfpack down in order to get that win, preserve that 1-run win for the Tigers, and now they move on to Georgia Tech tomorrow.
Yeah, and there were. You laid it out perfectly. There were so many momentum-shifting plays in this game, and I know at this time of year it becomes somewhat cliched and hackneyed to say this was a super regional-like atmosphere, but with about 5,000 in the stands because NC State obviously is close by and Clemson baseball travels, tremendous atmosphere in the ballpark, and the intensity level was so high, it felt like the 9th inning from the 3rd inning on. Every play seemed to be that important, that big, and a lot of the writers that were there covering the game, we kind of put, you do this as well, Phil, you'll kind of put a star by a play or an asterisk and say, okay, let's remember this. This is so important. This is so pivotal. It needs to be included into the story, and maybe one of the coaches needs to be asked about it in the post game. It might happen in the third inning or the fifth inning or the sixth inning. Everybody's scorecard would have just been lines of stars and asterisks, because every inning something shifted. There was a review here. It was overturned. A call upheld. A base runner thrown out at third base for the second out of an inning when he should not have tried to attempt it. Jacob Jarrell threw an NC State player out that would have represented the go-ahead run, threw him out trying to advance on a throw from the outfield, threw him out at second, meaning there were 2 outs in the inning with a runner on third instead of NC State having the bases cornered with 1 out when a sacrifice fly or a ground ball up the middle would have tied the game. So many plays like that. And you said Malstead came in and was tremendous in the ninth. He was so good in the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. And this is why we harped on this particular point yesterday about Malstead not throwing in game 1. That Bakich was able to hold that bullet back, meaning he was able to use Malstead for 60 pitches last night. I don't think this gets done. I don't think Clemson advances and is still alive in this tournament if Malstead would have had to throw in game 1 and would not have been available to go the distance from the 6th to the 9th last night. That's how big this was. That's how important the strategy was in game 1. And it was a fantastic ball game. Everybody agreed. Everyone there covering it, every fan, even the NC State fans, as disappointed as they were, you could hear the chatter. I went out late in the game, and you could hear the chatter about what a game this is. Glad we stayed, and it's 3 hours 23 minutes, but it flew by because it was such an enjoyable baseball atmosphere last night, Durham.
Let me break in with some breaking news from the South Carolina side of things, and we'll get back to you, Smitty. 2 key players have announced this afternoon they will return to South Carolina next season. Catcher Talmadge Lecroy, and just a moment ago, third baseman KJ Scobie put out an announcement that he is going to be returning to South Carolina. Let's ride is how they put it. That's big for Paul Mainieri. I mean, you get Lecroy back, who now, he is a proving catcher. His offense really struggled when he was behind the plate. Maybe with another year of working behind the plate, he can refine his offense, but that's big. You'll have a veteran behind the plate, and now you've got who will be probably your best overall player. Now that Petrie is leaving, the guy that can step up and be your best overall player, your leader at third base coming back. I would imagine Bo Hollins will come back. So that's good news. Good start to the offseason for South Carolina. They needed some good news and a good start.
There's no doubt.
To the offseason. Smitty, back to you. So Georgia Tech, the number 1 seed, waiting on the Tigers tomorrow afternoon. What do you think of the matchup? What are you expecting pitching-wise?
Well, it's a fantastic matchup, and we're getting to the point in the tournament where it's a lot of that old money ACC, right? I know that Florida State just disposed of Duke, or that was happening here in the last few minutes, and I expect North Carolina is a heavy favorite tonight over Boston College as well. So you could end up with North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, Georgia Tech as your Final Four standing, which is exactly obviously how the ACC would have drawn it up. And as far as the matchup in that game, you can't put anything past Clemson the way they are playing right now. I think that lineup has been optimized now with Canarella at the top, who I believe he's hitting north of 450 in the month of May. He's on a 17-game hitting streak, 4 for 5 last night. And then they're getting so many contributions up and down the lineup. In my opening salvo there, I didn't even mention the 2 squeeze plays in the 5th inning. Jaron Purify and Andrew Schufo were a part of those, and those were big plays. Of course, Andrew Schufo also had the slash play where he faked a bunt, pulled it back, and then knocked it and slapped it past the third baseman in the 8th inning. Well, that was an insurance run it turned out Clemson had to have in a 7-6 game. So the matchup, I would say, Clemson's lineup is going to just be tough right now. They are 9 tough outs. all the way down to Andrew Shufo at that 9 spot. So they're a lot to deal with, and they're not slugging. Jarrell hit a home run last night, but there were only 2 extra base hits for Clemson. The other one was from Jack Crichton on a ball that could have been caught. It was a triple that could have been caught. That was actually gloved by the center fielder, but he collided with the wall. So it could have been that Clemson would have gotten it done with 15 singles and a home run if it would have played out slightly differently. So they're not really slugging. They're just all focused on having quality at bats. So Brady Jones has his work cut out for him. That's the expected starter for Georgia Tech. Meanwhile, he's been nails in the second half of the season. His ERA is down to 3.8. The last time he faced the Tigers in Atlanta, he beat them in a blowout victory, 5 scoreless innings against Clemson. So they've got a lot of film on him, and they're certainly going to have to do better than they did last time because they couldn't scratch out anything against him. And as far as Clemson's pitching, with this day off, it really sets them up to bring everybody back. I suspect even Malstead's available. I know he threw 60 pitches last night, but the fact that he's a side armor and he's a veteran, I feel like he's available here. Not for 60 pitches again, not for 4 innings again, but maybe for a spot in the late innings. So if that's true, Clemson probably has everybody except Canuck and Titsworth able to go tomorrow. And now who gets the start? Does Bakich trust Talon Bell in this spot, a freshman? Because it is a big moment. But, hey, he's going to have to throw in one of these, right? Talon Bell's going to either if Clemson's going to go where they want to go, which is Omaha, that means Talon Bell's going to be in a big, pivotal spot, either in a regional, a super regional, or the ACC tournament. That's where Clemson is. That's what this is all about. That's what playing in May and June is all about. So I think that's where Bakich is going to go, and we'll see if he has a quick hook because I would guess that B.J. Bailey, he got lit up a little bit last night, so he's available again. You've got McGovern that could come out of the pen. You've got Joe Allen that could come out of the pen as well. So I think both teams have their full complement of arms going into this one, and it's just going to be another barn burner just like we saw last night.
Smitty, I want to climb into your baseball analytical mind and get your take on what impressed you more, how perfectly executed a game it was last night for Clemson. You mentioned the 2 squeeze plays that they pulled off perfectly. They get the home run. They ran the bases well. They turned, I believe, 4 double plays, if I'm not mistaken, defensively. They did, with the exception of Bailey. He was sort of the only blip on the radar. They did everything perfectly. I'm not sure they could play a much cleaner game than what they did last night. Or were you less impressed with the baseball IQ of NC State, which had to check in at about an F- last night? They're setting up for a double play with 2 runners at the corners. The ground ball goes to short. Inexplicably, the guy at third doesn't come in to score. In a game, they lose by 1. Clemson hits a rocket shot to left field for a base hit. The left fielder, instead of trying to throw out the runner at home, at least give his catcher a chance, lobs one into the cutoff man. Some of the things they did last night, it had to make Elliott Avent just pull what's left of his hair out of his head.
I got that sense too, but I will tell you that Avent in his post-game comments was not displeased, at least publicly. He was saying that he thought his team stayed aggressive and he didn't mind the way that they ran the bases. They did run themselves into some outs. And I want to say this, however. Clemson, you're right about them executing at the plate, but Clemson ran into some outs and they got lucky a couple of times. There was a call that was upheld on replay, and I think it was Pano stealing third, Josh Pano, and I thought he was out. The ball beat him, and then I saw it on replay. I thought he was out again, and then they came out and upheld the play that he was indeed safe, just as it had been called on the field. And Cam Canarella was picked off last night as well. So there were, and Clemson had a base runner thrown out at third from right field. So there were a few plays that Clemson just got away with it because they executed so well at the plate last night, especially from the 5th inning on. But you're right, NC State, I was watching this, and I thought, Avent's going to be steaming, but publicly he was not. He backed his team, and it may be that he actually dressed them down behind the scenes in the clubhouse, and now he knows that he's got to build this team back up because they're in a position, we didn't talk about this last night, but NC State's almost certainly going to be a 2 seed. They won't be hosting a regional, and that means they're going to be on the road, and it's character building time for his team. They're going to have games like this, so that may have been something that's going on, but I agree with you, Chris. I thought NC State, they had so many opportunities, and yes, you're right, Clemson turned 4 double plays, and part of that is what you do offensively, right? Clemson opted to bunt with runners on base and runners at third and get those guys in, there were players giving themselves up. Meanwhile, NC State said, okay, well, let's swing away and see how it happens. And sometimes you run yourself into a crooked number, or you get a 3-run homer. Not last night for NC State. In the second, third, and fourth innings, when the game could have been decided, this was like late innings, high leverage situations. Second, third, and fourth innings, all 3 of those innings, NC State closed out on a double play.
Yeah, it was remarkable how well Clemson played defensively. One other quick question about, and you referenced this with Cam Canarella, moving him back into the leadoff spot, something he did early in the season. And now that they've got him back in that leadoff spot, and you pointed out he's hitting it so much better. I think one thing they were hoping that his power numbers would improve, batting him further down the order, and it's just not been there for him. But with him now as the catalyst, how do they play him, though? Because he doesn't steal all that much. Didn't last year, partly because of the injury, but he doesn't run a whole lot now. Are they okay with him being in the leadoff spot, just getting on base, and then hoping that Purify and Priest and Pano can drive him in?
We all have regrets, right, Chris? And one of my regrets last night was not asking a more specific question to Eric Bakich. I asked him about Canarella, and I mentioned the throw from T.P. Wentworth in right field that was a big play defensively. I wish I would have used that moment to ask Bakich about lineup composition, because you're right. Canarella was picked off last night. That means he's got 6 stolen bases and has been caught 4 times. So he's not a threat there. That's not a major threat. It's not a major part of what Clemson wants to do with him. But I don't think you fool with him, because if you recall, I'll use an example for some of us older baseball fans. You might remember Wade Boggs spent some time batting leadoff earlier in his career with Boston, and it was just because he had a 400 on-base percentage. And if a guy's going to get on base at that rate, and Canarella was on base 4 times last night. Oddly, he never scored, but if you're going to reach base 4 times in a ball game, batting first is not the worst spot for you, because now the opposing pitcher is going to have to work from the stretch. Even though you're not necessarily a base-stealing threat, you can put him in motion. You can hit and run with he and Purify. So I think it's just something that if I were Bakich, I would just live with. I would say, hey, he's a good, solid, speedy base runner, even though he's not a base-stealing threat. And if he's going to get on base at like a 500 clip like he's done since May 1st, I think you just use that. Plus, everybody else seems so comfortable where they're hitting. Jarrell, it feels right at home about that 6 spot. Dominic Listy has hit so well out of the 5 hole. And Purify, since he's returned from injury, he's kind of come alive. And you're getting contributions even on the back end of the lineup. So I think sometimes you just hit on something as a coach, and you just kind of let it lay. And I hear you. And I think for the world of me, for the life of me, I don't understand why Cam Canarella can't steal a base consistently with his speed, athleticism, and his baseball IQ. But it's just not something he does that well. So forget about it. Just go out there, hit 400, get on base, and everybody just have good at bats up and down the lineup.
All right, Smitty, we thank you. Remind everybody to follow Smitty's coverage with Clemson tomorrow in the semifinals on our X page, SC Sports Now, SC Sports Now, and the website, SportsTalkSC.com. Thank you, Smitty. We'll be back. We'll check the scoreboard in a moment.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Okay, let's catch up with the conference tournament scoreboard before we hit the bottom of the hour break, and we'll continue, of course, on the other side. At the ACC tournament today, you just heard from Smitty, but one game in the books today. Florida State doubles up Duke 14-7. So Florida State advances. Coming up, Boston College at North Carolina. Second game there tonight, Georgia Tech and Clemson set to play tomorrow in that first semifinal game. Then at the CAA tournament taking place at Patriots Point. Now let's go to the Big South. Big South tournament, and it is Upstate beating High Point 13-9. Charleston Southern and Winthrop all tied up at 8 in the bottom of the fifth. So Upstate has advanced to the championship round. High Point is awaiting the winner of that Winthrop-Charleston Southern elimination game in another elimination game. CAA at Patriots Point, College of Charleston won an elimination game over Elon 4-2. And now the Cougars are leading Campbell, another elimination game, and they are up 8-6 in the top of the eighth inning. Northeastern and Wilmington, the other game there. I didn't realize this until I read the story. When Charleston was shut out yesterday by Northeastern, Chris, that was the fourth time this year Northeastern has shut out the Cougars. Every time they faced them this year, they've shut them out. They've yet to score a run against those guys.
Well, we talked earlier about how talented that pitching staff is, leads the country in ERA, and the college, at least, they can feel partly responsible for that, seeing how they can't score against those guys. So, yeah, Northeastern's very, very talented.
All right, the SEC, Ole Miss is leading Arkansas 5-2, bottom of the sixth. Coming up is Texas A&M and LSU. Of course, tomorrow, Tennessee and Vanderbilt will meet. That should be a dandy, and we'll be back in a moment.
Largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Weicker. The Army says military air traffic controllers lost contact with an Army chopper for about 20 seconds as it neared the Pentagon on the flight that caused two commercial jets to abort their landings this month at a Washington airport. The aborted landings adding to the general unease about continued close calls. The Justice Department reaching a deal with Boeing. It will allow the company to avoid criminal prosecution for allegedly misleading U.S. regulators about the 737 MAX jetliner before two of the planes crashed, killing more than 300 people. Publix supermarket chain is recalling fruit and vegetable baby food because testing found elevated levels of lead. Pouches were found in 1,400 stores. This is SRN News.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. What you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
Now through May 31st, 2025, buy the house now, reset your rate later with Mortgage Reset from Founders Federal Credit Union. Open a new mortgage or refinance an existing mortgage and get the lowest rate you qualify for now. Set up direct deposit and then you can reset your rate once for free at any time rates drop. That's right, at any time during the life of the loan, you can reset your rate to the lowest rate you qualify for at that time at no additional cost. It's that easy. Visit foundersfcu.com/mortgage to learn more. Find your local mortgage loan officer or to start your application. You can always start your application and save your progress to complete later. Not a member with Founders yet? Don't wait. Visit us online or stop by an office to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Can't stand when the next door neighbor has something you'd love? They call that spring envy. You do not want to experience spring envy, do you? At Floor Boys, your neighbors can envy you because you'll get your flooring fixed this spring. With Floor Boys, you can get up to 48 months of 0% financing, interest-free up to 48 months on the finest quality hardwoods, LVP, carpeting, laminate, tile, even area rugs. Don't wait. This incredible deal is only good through June 2nd, and then you'll be back to that wicked case of spring envy. Visit floorboys.com for all the details.
On the floors of Tokyo, down in London town to go. With the record selection and the mirror's reflection, I'm a dancing with myself.
A beautiful day in South Carolina. Boy, it makes you long for the beach. Well, it won't be long before you want to get down to the beach, right? Schools are finishing up. You're thinking about vacation. Hopefully, you haven't waited too long to give Jimmy Smith a call and let Jimmy find you a great place along the beach to stay for your vacation. Maybe it's a week or 2 weeks or a month, maybe longer. Just call Jimmy, 843-237-4246, 843-237-4246, online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Paulie's the place, Jimmy the man. All you got to do is give him a call and say, Jimmy, help me. 843-237-4246, online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. All right, wrapping up the scoreboard for baseball. We got down to the Southern Conference, which, of course, is playing their games over in Greenville at Fluor Field. So in the SoCon today, you've got East Tennessee State beating Western Carolina 16-13. Samford beating Wofford 12-7. Elimination game, the Citadel is leading Western Carolina 4-2, middle 4. And Wofford and Mercer, elimination game coming up tonight, 8:30. So East Tennessee State and Samford, they have advanced. And the Sun Belt Tournament, so far today in the Sun Belt Tournament, Troy is leading Old Dominion 4-2 after 5. 4-2 after 5. Marshall, Louisiana coming up, elimination game. Coastal Carolina won last night over Marshall 4-2. So they've advanced in the winners bracket, and they'll be awaiting.
Still have their ace. They have yet to throw Jacob Morrison the Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year.
So you would think
they've got him.
they might,
They've got him ready.
Yeah, you would think they might get him out there tomorrow. They beat Georgia Southern in their first game 8-1. They beat Marshall last night 4-2. So their pitching has been very stout so far,
as expected. That pitching staff is just tremendous. Cameron Fluke and also Riley Eichhoff have gone the first 2 games for them, and I mean they haven't missed a beat. They've gotten just enough offense past couple of ball games that, I mean, when you only have to score about 3 or 4 runs to win, you're pretty good.
So I'm imagining here, looking at this, am I correct in saying Coastal will get the winner of the Marshall, Louisiana game?
That's correct.
Yeah, the winner of Old Dominion Troy, Southern Miss will play them, and then if they have to play other games. If the 2 undefeated teams win, then they'll play the championship game. They'll just move on to the championship game on Sunday. If either one of those lose, they'll turn around and play again on Saturday.
Excuse me, Phil, which is what everybody I think in the Sun Belt wants to see. Southern Miss and Coastal, probably the 2 best teams in the league that did not play one another during the regular season. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be all but fitting that those 2 make it to the championship game, winner take all, to decide the tournament title.
All right, before we hear from the Clemson folks from baseball last night, because it was a late finish, some notes on the South Carolina softball win today over UCLA, 9-2, and it was Sam Gress, the winner for South Carolina, 14-9. Caitlin Terry takes the loss for UCLA, 18-5. For South Carolina today, 9 runs, 11 hits, no errors, 2 runs on 8 hits, and an error for UCLA. And leading the Gamecocks hitting-wise, they had 1 home run by Winters. That was their lone home run. They only struck out 3 times, were hit a couple of times, walked a couple of times. The Gamecocks did. Several players had a couple of hits. Shelton had 2. Rhodey had 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Winters had 2 hits, that homer, 3 RBIs. Blankenship had 2 hits. Gamecocks led 3-0 after 1, 5-0 after 2, 5-2 after 4, and then finish it off with 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and they win going away. Very impressive victory, and it looks like they had a big crowd, sold-out place over at the Gamecocks softball facility.
Yeah, I think I heard they mentioned on the broadcast, and some of this is, Carolina fans are going to get behind a winner, and they sold out all their allotment of tickets in 8 minutes, evidently earlier this week. So, yeah, they had a good crowd there, and they were into the ball game. And for Carolina hosting a super regional for the first time, obviously the fans were excited about it, especially considering on the flip side of the coin what you've gone through with baseball. They're going to jump on and gravitate to softball in a hurry, you would think.
Yeah. And they'll play again tomorrow afternoon, right? They have an afternoon game tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That will perhaps send them on to Oklahoma City. But still work to be done, and they need to stay focused, get another performance like that. That will take care of business. Now, Clemson last night, the baseball team, you just heard from Smitty. Tigers win it 7-6 over NC State. Here is what the Tigers had to say in the postgame last night after celebrating that win over the Wolfpack. Hard-fought win, their first win of the season against NC State after NC State had swept them earlier in the season, in the regular season in Raleigh. So it was a sweet win for the Tigers as they bounced back. It was a back-and-forth game, very competitive game, really could have gone either way. Here are Eric Bakich and Jacob Jarrell as they talked in the postgame last night. Bakich with the opening comments.
Yeah, awesome college baseball game. Exciting. That was one of the most fun games I think I've ever been a part of. So I know that the players had to have loved it just as much, but saw a little bit of everything. We scored in a multitude of ways, had a suicide squeeze, a safety squeeze, a slash, JJ 3 RBIs all by himself with a sac fly, a solo homer, and another RBI single. But just the contributions, the two-strike hitting, the relief pitching by Lucas Smallstad, all of it mixed in just made for just one heck of a college game against an opponent that, has given us just a lot of trouble this year, and maybe an opponent that has some of the best power relief pitching in all of college baseball. They just, Nance and Dudan, and they just have electric stuff to go with a premier group of starting pitchers as well. So that's obviously an elite club at NC State, and wouldn't be surprised to see them make a postseason run. But heck of a win tonight. We needed every run we had and everything, and just an incredible effort. Proud of our guys.
Questions? Raise your hand and we'll pass the mic around.
Grayson Man with TigerNet.com. You mentioned after the series loss to Duke that you were confident this group had the fight in them to be able to bounce back. What did tonight represent about that fight with this comeback?
That's a good word. The resolve of this group. Sometimes you need adversity to figure out who you are, and your identity is formed and shaped as the season goes on. And we had little bits of adversity in some games. But never really a stretch like that where for 3 weeks we, it was tough, and but our guys fought through it, to use your word, fight, and got back up stronger and playing better baseball than ever before. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it certainly feels right, looks right, and this looks like an even more confident bunch. So it's just an unbelievable group of kids that. Great leadership and great character players that just refuse to. There's just no quit, and we saw that tonight many times with the back and forth trading punches type of game. But very proud of how they fought through the 3 weeks of losing 3 series in a row to get back up and be the best we've been all season right now.
Jacob, take us through your home run, from your point of view.
Well, I just saw the pitch and swung, but just going off the scouting report, I mean, he was, pretty fastball heavy, and I watched guys in front of me like Dom Listy and Josh Pano. So having them in front of me, like especially Josh, a lot of teams pitch Josh the same that they pitch me, so I can watch a lot of stuff from him, and yeah.
Jacob, Lucas goes. Lucas goes 4 innings, 4 Ks. Can you tell me what you kind of saw from him tonight?
Yeah, well, he's pretty filthy. He throws some 2 different slots, and it really messes with the hitter's eyes. And it's fun catching him, and then also having the defense behind him too to make plays. I mean, we had 4 double plays tonight, and it's pretty fun seeing that right on the dish.
And then Eric, executing on the 2 bunt plays, the slash. You talk about your team's overall execution on those kind of set plays today.
Yeah, it takes a mental toughness to be able to, center yourself and execute at a high level against elite pitching in a big time environment, and to be able to get those plays, to get those bunts down or to execute slash. And so especially given the stuff that we're facing, it makes it double tough. But yeah, it's these guys train. They've trained all year practicing those plays, and so they've had a lot of reps doing it. It's one thing to do it in a controlled environment. It's another thing to do it in an environment like this. And so it just speaks a lot to the toughness, the will, the determination to just do something good for the team.
Coach, obviously your focus is on tonight. Do you have any idea who your starter is going to be tomorrow? And if not, is BJ Bailey possibly in contention to start given the success he had against Georgia Tech the first time around?
We like BJ in relief. I mean, he'll be back. He did have a lot of success against Georgia Tech. Luckily, we don't play tomorrow, so that'll be nice to get a good day of rest. But we could go BJ, we could go Talon Bell, we could use an opener that's a right-hander. I mean, we'll see. But Georgia Tech is going to be just as tough of an opponent, and they won the league for a reason. But I think we'll figure it all out tomorrow when we meet as a staff.
With the
momentum your team's playing with right now, would you rather keep playing tomorrow, or do you think it'll be beneficial to have a day off?
I think everyone would benefit from a day off and get a lift in and get their feet underneath them. And whether we play tomorrow or the next day really doesn't matter. It's kind of all the same. These guys are just excited to just stay here a little bit longer.
Eric, you guys played what you considered a high quality game. Does this simulate the type of stress and execution of a game, of a college baseball game in June? And does it also accentuate the depth of the ACC, considering it's only a quarterfinal game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, NC State's an Omaha team last year. We were a super regional team last year, and it kind of felt like tonight was like a super regional or an Omaha type game. Just two evenly matched clubs, just trading blows, going back and forth, bunch of lead changes. Like JJ mentioned, we had to
Thank you for the NIL hit up.
Got unfortunate with some of those, but the defense really picked us up in those. And but you could just tell each team, the margin in these games is razor thin. It's one swing, it's one play, it's one pitch. Because this feels like a deep in June type of ball game. I mean, that was just, in at least in my memory, that was just one of the most thrilling, exciting games to be a part of, whether you're a coach, a player, or a fan, or someone watching that's just a spectator with no dog in the fight. That was a fun game to watch.
Look at the front here.
Coach, I'm sure you're waiting for somebody to ask about Wentworth's throw and Cam Canarella's performance, not just tonight, but the last month.
Yeah, Cam is a big time player, and big time players make big time plays when it means the most. And Cam's 4 hits tonight were certainly clutch. And this is when Cam's just
today's Scobie's birthday.
Everyone tries to quantify the clutch gene, and Cam's just got the it factor. He's just a little superhero out there, and he's the guy you want up when the game's on the line and want the ball hit to when the game's on the line. But the contributions up and down the lineup, that's when we're at our best, when it's not just 1 or 2 guys, but it's 9 guys. And some of the defensive plays today, besides the double play, like TP's throw you mentioned was huge, but also, JJ's redirect to throw out the lead runner would have been the go-ahead run in the 8th at second base. That was a big play too. So there were a bunch of them like that, had a couple outs on the bases that we got defensively, in addition to the double plays that, really allowed us to come out on top of this game.
One more question from Monty.
So can you talk a little about JJ's development and where he's gotten to after splitting time as the catcher for his first 2 years here and now stepping into that full-time role and really flourishing for a lot of the season?
Yeah, I've been involved in college baseball since the fall of 1998 when I was a player myself, and been coaching ever since. And JJ's the hardest working kid I've ever seen in college baseball. Hands down, bar none. He just is, his work ethic is unmatched. And so every success he has, he's earned. And he's got, great years of baseball ahead of him. And
gonna break out.
He's just the type of guy that, I think he will will himself to play in the big leagues. And I think he'll be running a successful company when his big league days are over, because all this kid knows is how to make something a winner, and he'll work his way to get it done.
All right, there you go.
Clemson coach Eric Bakich, catcher Jared Gerald, talking to the media after last night's win over NC State. Tigers and Georgia Tech face off tomorrow, 1 o'clock in Durham, for the right to go to the championship game. All right, when we come back from the break, we'll catch up on some other news notes. We didn't get to it last night. We will get to it tonight, of course, as the NIL churns. Got plenty of good stuff there. Recruiting, Jeff Owens, George Bryant. Will update South Carolina golf coming up.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
Not the second time, though. I just said Gerald.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan
It's
from
Ja-
Founders
That's what I
Federal
said.
Credit
The
Union
second time
now
I said
through
Jacob
October
Jarrett.
31st.
First
You'll
time
be
I said
entered to
Jarrell.
win up to
I just
$25,000
closed
toward
it
your
up by saying
qualifying
Jacob Jarrett.
auto loan and a $5,000
Right?
deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or
Yeah, I know I
transfer it
said
out to
Jarrell.
spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win.
Yeah.
So don't
Well-
wait. Visit foundersfcu.com
Yeah.
/auto.
Well, going
to
into
learn
it, I know I
more
said
or
Jarrell, but
begin
coming
your
out of it,
auto
I said
loan
Jacob
application
Jarrell.
today. Not a Founders
And
member yet?
back at
Visit us online or stop
'Cause
by
I
our
was
office to learn more about Founders
focused on
and
that.
see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax. You're with Founders.
Yeah, we'll come
Terms
back
and
and go over
conditions
some
apply.
news notes.
Membership qualification required.
There's a lot of things we take for granted
My
in our
Vikings
lives.
got knocked out
Your
in
home's
1A
AC
playoffs.
will
All they had
run
to do was
cool.
beat Lakeview
Your
once. They lost
drive-through coffee
2-1
will be
game.
hot, and the car will start when it's time to take
In
your
the lower
kids to
state
school.
finals at home.
It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for
Into
life's
the death
most
zone.
difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has
Tons.
been taking care of people across South Carolina
You see
for
what
more
Don
than 2
Staley
decades.
was on the
You probably have insurance,
Daily Show
but
and the
switching
Late
is
Show.
easy,
Plug in
and
her book.
bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want.
Beamer was there.
All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Estimates of $79 million impact on the area.
There's a hard moon rising on the streets tonight. There's a reckless feeling in your heart as you head out tonight. Through the concrete canyons to the
All right, let's catch up on some other things on this Friday heading into the Memorial Day weekend. We got day one of the NCAA Men's Golf Championship underway out in California, same place where the women played. And South Carolina was one of the last to tee off, maybe the very last to tee off. So they're still early in their round. They have completed 3 holes. Not a great start. They're 4 over after 3 holes. Yeah, they're playing holes 4 through 7 right now. Puts them in 13th place as far as the overall leadership. They are 14 shots behind Oklahoma. Of course, just like the women, you want to make that top 15 cut after the 3rd round, and then that top 8 cut after the 4th round to move on to stroke play. So, right now they're inside the top 15, but they got a long way to go. We'll see how they look in a couple of hours. Not a great start. 4 over for South Carolina after their first 3 holes. Looking at the scorecards for the Gamecocks, and 2 of them are even. Nathan Franks and Frankie Harris, the 2 that you would think would have to carry the day for them. So they're off to even par starts. Everybody else is over par thus far for the Gamecocks. We'll keep a close watch on this. And, of course, when George joins us for birdies, bogeys, and biceps, we'll have more. Keep you up to date and talk more about the South Carolina men in the Nationals and also what happened with the South Carolina women in the Nationals. They finished up last week.
Who won the national championship on the women's side? Do we know?
I
know
beg your
we
pardon?
sort of stopped
Yeah,
watching
Northwestern.
when the Gamecocks-
Northwestern
Okay.
beat Stanford.
Wow.
In a major upset.
Was it in the classroom or,
Yeah.
or out on the golf course?
Well, you know what? That one could have gone either way now. That one could have gone either way.
No doubt.
Our poll question of the week is wrapped up, and with 51.7% of the vote, the voters believe the South Carolina football team will open the season 5-0. 34.5% said they would start 4-1. 13.8% voted 3-2. Nobody thought they would be worse than 3-2 coming out of the month of September. I think they got a real good shot at being at least 4-1. That Missouri game on the road, of course, that'll be testy. You don't want to mess around with Virginia Tech in Atlanta. I mean, I think South Carolina will be a slight favorite going into that one, and they will be a slight favorite, maybe a moderate favorite over Vanderbilt at home, and probably a slight favorite over Kentucky at home, and probably an underdog going out to Missouri. People respect Missouri. I mean, he's done a great job out there. They got a good team, got a good program. You just can't take them for granted.
Well, and I think what Gamecock fans want to see out of their football team is forget SC State, forget Vanderbilt, forget Missouri, forget Kentucky. Just go out there and play well in the opener. I mean, when was the last time you could look back at a competitive team that came in to face the Gamecocks in the opener, and you walked away from that thinking, USC looked really good. They played extremely well in the opener. It's been a while that I can remember. I mean, even the Old Dominion game to kick off this year. I mean, I remember the discussion coming out of that game looking at Kentucky thinking, boy, Gamecocks are going to be lucky to be in that game. And they go up and blitz Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't gauge much out of game one, but I think that's what USC fans would like to see, them come out and play well in the opener.
Not so sure people really knew how good they were going to be on defense that early in the season. Yeah. And that pass rush that they unveiled against Kentucky, I mean, it was meet the quarterback at the ball back there for those two defensive ends. South Carolina has hired their new beach volleyball coach. She is a Hall of Fame athlete and accomplished coach at both the pro and collegiate level. Did I say she? Maybe it's a he.
She did. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, not necessarily a she. Jose, so I guess it's a he. Jose Loyola, like the school. Jose Loyola, not spelled like the school, but that's how it's pronounced. Jose Loyola has been named South Carolina's second head beach volleyball coach. Most recently served for 2 seasons as assistant coach at UCLA, and he coached pro teams on both the men's and women's side dating back to 2014. So they have taken care of that opening on the staff. Also today, Tracy Lynch is out as softball coach at the College of Charleston. They had their best year ever in the CAA this season, it says, but not good enough. And let's see if there's anything else here real quick before we go to the break. Let's see. Nope. We told you about Talmadge LeCroy and Scobie coming back to South Carolina. That's big news for Gamecock baseball. And we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Harvard University suing the Trump team over its ban on enrolling foreign students.
In the lawsuit, Harvard is challenging the government's decision to bar it from enrolling foreign students, saying the action violates the First Amendment and Due Process Clause. The Ivy League school says the prohibition is an unconstitutional retaliation for defying the White House's political demands. About a quarter of Harvard's students are from foreign countries. The Trump administration alleges that the school has created an unsafe campus environment for Jewish students. Greg Clugston, Washington.
In the meantime, the Trump administration accusing Columbia University of violating the civil rights of Jewish students by, quote, acting with deliberate indifference toward what it describes as rampant anti-Semitism on campus. Also, at townhall.com, President Trump threatening a 50% tax on all imports from the European Union, as well as a 25% tariff on smartphones unless the products are made in America. The president says he's not interested in negotiating with the European Union over his tariff.
I'm not looking for a deal. I mean, we've set the deal. It's at 50%. But again, there is no tariff if they build their plant here. Now, if somebody comes in and wants to build a plant here, I can talk to them about a little bit of a delay, but, while they're building their plant, which is something I think that would be appropriate, maybe.
Justice Department reaching a deal with Boeing that will allow the company to avoid criminal prosecution for allegedly misleading U.S. regulators about the 737 MAX jetliner before two of the planes went down, killing more than 340 people. Department said that it has reached a, quote, agreement in principle that will require the company to pay and invest more than $1.1 billion. More on these stories, townhall.com.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Walmart is set to make some cuts.
1,500 jobs are on the line as part of a restructuring push to simplify its operations. The company's plan will impact teams in its global technology operations, e-commerce fulfillment in U.S. stores, and its advertising business Walmart Connect. The news comes less than a week after the company's announcement that some prices will be raised by the end of May due to President Trump's tariffs.
The supermarket chain Publix is recalling fruit and vegetable baby food because testing found elevated levels of lead. Publix recalling Greenwise pear, kiwi, spinach, and pea baby food sold in 4-ounce plastic pouches. The FDA posted that recall notice late yesterday. Pouches were sold in more than 1,400 stores. Contamination was flagged by officials initially in North Carolina. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your holiday weekend forecast. Clear, refreshingly cool tonight with a low temperature dipping to 56. Tomorrow, similar to today, a blend of sunshine and clouds to go with a high at 81. For Sunday, it's a 40% chance of afternoon showers, 84 the high. And for Memorial Day, mostly cloudy, afternoon storms are possible, 83 is the high. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network here on this Friday night, heading into the Memorial Day weekend. Welcome back, Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber Josh Cohen at our studios in downtown Columbia. Hey, plumber, how are you spending your Memorial Day weekend? You got plans? Maybe you got a date or something?
No.
Okay.
No.
This is why Josh does not have a date. Man of very few words.
No personality. Well, I had to beat him across the head when he took over the production job there, to be nice to people on the phone, how to greet people, show a little bit of love to people, you know.
I feel like if I talk about anything that happens at my house, not just in general, anything that happens with anything other than work, there's always a joke or something. It's so I have to keep it short, you know. Chris
Welcome
knows
to
this.
Sports Talk.
Yeah, well, Chris knows that.
Well,
yeah.
who would make fun of you? Who would make a joke out of it?
I don't know.
Far
it's
be
crazy.
it from me to make fun of, you know.
Never Phil Cornwell would never make a joke.
Far be it from me. Okay, had a couple of other notes I wanted to get to here, and then another edition of As the NIL Churns, exclusively here on Sports Talk. I can't believe nobody else has thought about that, but we did. Former Clemson infielder has been called up to the majors. Logan Davidson has been promoted. Well, it's the A's, so it's not really the majors, but they're part of the major leagues organizations. So the A's have called him up from Las Vegas to the Sacramento-based club. Former first-round pick in 2019 at number 29 overall. AAA this season, hitting .303 with 2 homers and 22 RBIs. He doesn't care about the shape of the A's franchise. He's, I'm sure, just ecstatic about getting his first taste of the big leagues.
Exactly. And, you know, when Colorado is still a major league franchise, don't make fun of the A's.
Well, at least Colorado is in Denver.
They may lose 140 games this
year.
They're
terrible. I get you. Yeah, I understand that they're terrible, but, you know, at least they are a solid franchise. They're not bouncing all over the place and having to play in minor league parks and things like that.
Folks in Denver may want them to bounce around and move.
Hard to believe they've gotten as bad as they have.
It's incredible.
I don't know why.
It shouldn't happen. I mean, it really should not happen. And Major League Baseball has got to step in. You can't have a franchise that's as bad as they are. I mean, it hurts the entire product you're putting out.
But what can you do if you're Major League Baseball? I mean, it's up to each individual team to draft its players and develop its players. And Major League
Spend
Baseball,
money.
I mean,
yeah.
The only thing Major League Baseball will step in to do from time to time, and it's controversial, is stop a trade.
Right.
They've done that in the past if they thought a trade was, you know, too one-sided or too expensive or just something crazy. Mark Packer announced today that he is retiring and says he can't wait to travel, write, teach, and live again. Makes it sound like he hated his job.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to phrase it. I love the other part. He said that his agent informed ESPN that he was retiring.
Yeah. I have decided to retire. Okay, well, good luck, Mark. Mark's a great guy, Clemson grad. Of course, his dad was a very famous individual, Billy Packer. Mark followed in his shoe steps, did a terrific job all around the ACC. So good luck moving forward. An update on Jim Toman from his daughter, Caroline. Quote, my father has been recovering in the hospital at Duke, transferring to rehab yesterday afternoon, planning to begin radiation and chemotherapy treatments in a couple of weeks. Thank you to everyone who has reached out. My dad isn't using his phone now, so I'm relaying his messages. We are very grateful for your continued thoughts and prayers. Let's continue to stand by Storm. So,
absolutely.
Good luck there. He's got a very tough road ahead of him. We're all pulling for him, of course. The post-spring college football top 25 per ESPN. What is SP Plus? I got so many
I'm not
things.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, what is this SP? Is that something you have to pay for again?
Well, if there's a plus attached to it, that'd be my guess.
Yeah. They rank Clemson 8 and South Carolina 17. Ohio State, Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, Texas would be your top 5. So, you know, by this, the South Carolina won't make the playoffs this year if you just go by the ranking. Of course, it doesn't mean anything. It's a pile of doo-doo at this point. Nothing really to be too worked up about. Deshaun Watson's injury rehab, they say, is progressing well. Could make things interesting, delicate, and awkward for the Browns. He's out of his walking boot. He's throwing at the Browns facility. I don't see why, if you get Deshaun Watson back to 100% health, I can't see why he can't be a major contributor for the Browns in some way.
He's got all the talent in the world. That football part has never really been a problem for him. It's everything else off the field that's been the issue for him.
Yeah. Well, he really has gone through some stuff, hasn't he? Okay. It's now time, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for it. Bergie's been waiting for it. I know the plumber's been waiting for it. Another edition of As the NIL Churns.
as the NIL churns.
Around the beautiful world of money, 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 and other things in college sports in no particular order. Some of the headlines here. NCAA D1 Council has recommended expedited legislation next month regarding an elimination on the prohibition on wagering on pro sports, in addition to developing concepts to explore safe harbor, limited immunity, or reduced penalties for athletes who engage in sports wagering, but seek help for problem gambling. Now, this has no problems written around in it, right? I mean, you could see this having no issues whatsoever moving forward. So they want to, they want the athletes to be able to gamble on pro sports, and if they become addicted, they want to help you with your gambling problem. And, of course, the athletes are going to have so much money in their pockets. Why not blow it on on pro sports and gambling? That makes perfectly good sense to me.
I don't, and I know you're being facetious here and sarcastic, and you should be, because this is a horrible idea, because the one thing you're going to run into is anytime you get money pumped into sports and there's an opportunity for someone else to make money, there may be influence that happens to follow along. Now, I get it, they're not betting on the collegiate game, but, how long does it take to draw a line from an athlete that's spending a bunch of money betting on the Cowboys and keeps losing and gets into a hole, and the bookie who he's working through says, hey, you know what? What if you let me know a game that you were going to throw, so I'll take care of your debt here, but I can make some money on the opposite side.
Yep. A Texas bill that would allow schools to pay NIL compensation to college athletes is moving forward. Without the bill passing, schools would be prohibited by current state law from paying their athletes as permitted by the House settlement. Sounds like some schools are hesitant to sign the Power 4 agreement that would prevent schools from suing to challenge new rules that may come out of the House settlement. Like Tennessee, they may not want to be bound to enforce rules that will likely draw antitrust challenges. Louisville. Another story out of Louisville. But they've been busy in the NIL world here of late. Louisville announced a partnership with one of the most influential voices in sports law and business, Andrew Brandt. So he is going to go to work with Louisville on things related to money and NIL and all of that stuff. Also, Tennessee's chancellor and AD both publicly state that collective bargaining is the only solution for college athletics moving forward. Of course, many others in college athletics, it says here, privately agree. That's Danny White.
They're right. Yeah, he's right.
But then don't you have to be employees to do collective bargaining?
Exactly, yes.
Well, how's that going to work?
You're going to have to make them employees, Phil. I think
how's
that's
that going
ultimately
to work?
You're going to have to ask Tennessee's chancellor and Danny White and a lot, and Jeremiah Donati and Graham Neff and the people that are a whole lot smarter than me. Chance Miller, all these guys who handle athletics. But sooner or later, that's got to happen.
Under pending new college rules, an offensive lineman could receive $1 million in revenue sharing with no scrutiny. But $1 million deal from a booster collective to a softball player or wrestler will be examined and possibly nixed. Some female athletes will suffer large financial harm under the House settlement terms. Many will almost certainly be paid much less than now because of the salary cap and collective booster limits. Won't be much money left after paying the men, it says here. Anybody have a problem with that?
Well, here's an interesting question. I'm glad you brought this up because it references Najee Kennedy, who is the pitcher for Texas Tech. And she reportedly got $1 million deal from Texas Tech to transfer from Stanford to go pitch for Texas Tech. She just beat Florida State in the Super Regionals to get them to their first ever Women's College World Series appearance. Was she worth $1 million to bring that to the school?
The NIL system that the NCAA and our governments, state and federal, are implementing continue to illegally restrict student athletes, and I prepared a lawsuit that will invalidate the new rule regime established by House settlement, along with some NCAA bylaws and state laws. This is by a lawyer by the name of Tyler Phillips. Get in line, Ty. Get in line. Sources told On3 that Texas Tech booster and billionaire Cody Campbell will continue to work behind the scenes for when the Presidential Commission is ready to move forward. The pause was mainly led by Senator Ted Cruz. Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed, who can run but cannot throw. He's a good runner. I don't think he's a great passer. Maybe he's improved. He has signed an NIL deal with the private jet company ENG Aviation Group. He joins Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, and Carson Beck as the only college athletes with a private jet deal.
So does he get to fly to road games separately on his private jet while the rest of the team has to fly their charter team plane?
Use your imagination. Oklahoma.
That won't cause any problems.
This will soon become the norm. Oklahoma is laying off 5% of its athletic department staff due to looming revenue sharing with athletes. AD Joe Castiglione also told the Sooner staff that he will be adjusting his compensation, which totals nearly $2 million. And what the hell?
But he's not the problem. His salary is a drop in the bucket anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Brent Venables and guys like that, the football coaches.
Dabo Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about those
Kirby
that are
Smarts.
making above $10 million and above?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it. Another edition in the books as of the NIL churns continues regularly here on Sports Talk. As the news churns out in the NIL world, we'll bring it to you here on Sports Talk. After the break, we'll catch up with Jeff Owens in the fast lane as we head to the big weekend of racing here on Sports Talk, of course, with the, Monaco early in the morning, and then Indy, and then, of course, the Coca-Cola 600. Indy, is going to be on Fox. I think.
Okay. Not
yeah,
NBC.
they're
All right.
on Fox this year. Indy's on Fox, and the 600 is on, it's on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you do have an Amazon subscription. It's one of the one of your benefits of working for the Sports Talk Media Network. We don't give you health insurance, we don't give you retirement, but we do give you Amazon.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
Okay, we're back. It's Sports Talk. It's a big racing weekend. Big weekend for Jeff Owens as well, as the family has got a daughter graduating from high school. So we had to record this piece with him a little bit earlier today. And, of course, first things first, we congratulated Jeff on the graduation tonight.
We do. High school graduation tonight, Phil, in North Carolina for the third time for me. So this will be my last time. So here we go, one more time, and then we're getting close to getting them all on the road and out of the house. So we're getting there.
That's a big time when that happens. Well, congratulations. I know it's a big night for everybody involved. It's a big weekend at Charlotte and Indianapolis. I know you love this weekend. Can you get enough racing this weekend?
Yeah, this is a huge. If you're a race fan, this is the biggest weekend of the year, and you're going to get your fill on Sunday if you want. Starting at about 7 a.m. They start the Formula One race Sunday morning at Monaco, Grand Prix of Monaco, about 7 a.m. And then you got the Indy 500 around noon. And then we go from there right on to Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Coca-Cola 600 Sunday night. So a full day of racing, a great day of racing. I'm going to catch as much of it as I can. But, yeah, if you are a race fan, this is like Super Bowl Sunday.
Absolutely. Do you think some race fans will be upset the 600 is not on the regular outlets? It's going to be on Prime, on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, there's no question, Phil, that is going to be a big controversy on Sunday night. No question about it. You know, I remember back 20 years ago, Phil, when you remember this too, where there was only, there were about 3 or 4 networks that covered NASCAR throughout the season. And at various points through the season, we'd switch networks. We'd go from TNN to TNT or, the USA Network to whatever, back to ESPN, all this stuff. And race fans would get, furious and frustrated because they couldn't find the race. They did switch to another network, and, it's a lot easier to find now than it was back then, and they were frustrated. Well, now it's a whole lot more complicated because you got to have all these streaming services. So now the race moves over to Amazon Prime this weekend, and if you don't have a subscription, you're not going to see the race. So there's going to be a lot of people scrambling to do that. A lot of people don't know that, maybe not understand that. You got people that don't have smart TVs. It's probably going to be chaotic, and there's going to be a lot of upset people, and it's just something NASCAR is going to have to deal with. But that's the problem you deal with when as a sports league, when you switch to these streaming services and you shut out part of your fan base and part of your audience, and then others can't find it. That's a problem, but that's kind of the world we live in today.
Yeah, you summed it up very well. And, of course, the NASCAR people, like any of the leagues, will say, look, man, we can't turn down the money that these streamers are offering right now. If you want quality sports and quality competition and you want us to be able to pay the players, the coaches, and everything else and pay the bills, we got to take this money.
Yeah, and it's just part of being a sports fan today. I mean, if you're watching the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs right now, you're switching networks every night because it's crazy. I mean, even the NBA playoffs, they're on different networks. So is the NHL. You're flipping all around, and you don't know from night to night where to go. You got to go searching for it. You got to go find it, and then you can't just hit your remote and go back and forth. I mean, they've messed up a beautiful thing, but that's just part of being a sports fan today. And all the sports leagues and all the sports are dealing with it. Football, baseball, all of them. And you're right, it's all about money. It's all about these streaming services need content, and they're willing to pay for it. And the sports leagues, the money's there, and they'd be crazy not to take it.
Well, for their sake, I hope Amazon is prepared for the number of people that might try to pull it in. I can remember last football season when Netflix had their first NFL game, they had a lot of issues with it.
They have, and I think all the streaming services have experienced a little bit of that, having the bandwidth to handle it. And Netflix continues to have it when they have live events. Amazon seems to be okay, but I remember some Amazon games during the NFL season that didn't stream well and had some buffering issues. And, and now you're going to have all these new users suddenly scrambling and signing up and trying to log on. And you're right. That's a great question. What's going to happen if they have buffering and streaming issues in the first NASCAR race on Amazon? that you think that's going to be a controversy? That's going to be all we're going to be talking about next week. We're going to have a great Coca-Cola 600, and all we're going to be talking about next week is Amazon.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. But again, I'm sure NASCAR is prepared for that. They made that call, so surely they knew the consequences.
Will they be using the regular Fox crew? Just it'll be on Amazon?
No, they're switching crews as well. Dale Earnhardt Jr. We go back to Junior and Steve Letarte this week. Not sure who the play-by-play guy is. I want to say it's Adam Alexander. Could be wrong about that, but I know this is Junior. Junior moved over from NBC to Amazon just to do this, so he's excited about it. I've seen him doing some promos and commercials. Steve Letarte is with him, and I think that's good. I think those two, particularly since they were a driver crew chief tandem together, I think they got great chemistry in the booth. I think they do a good job. I think that'll be good for Amazon, maybe help draw some more fans in. So I am anxious to see that. I think those guys will do a good job.
All right, as far as the race, that is the main story we hope. Kyle Larson trying to do the double between Indy and the 600. Be a lot of drama surrounding him if he's able to complete the race at Indy and then get his way to Charlotte in time, which he will, of course, but in time to get into the car and then go those 600 miles.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have any weather issues this year. It looks clear so far. Last year he did this. He finished sixth at Indy, and he was running sixth when he had the pit stop problem at the very end. And he got to Charlotte, and then we had a weather delay, and it wound up messing him up. But hopefully we don't have that this time, because I think he's got a shot. I don't think he's got a shot to win at Indy. I do think he's got a shot to have a good finish. But anytime he climbs in that car at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he's got a chance to win the race. And if he can finish that Indy 500 and come back to Charlotte and win that race, that's going to be a historic feat. I think he can do that. I think he could even at least get a top 5 out of it, and I think that'll be a great accomplishment too. I think there's only one guy who's done that. Tony Stewart, I believe, had the best finish in the double. So we'll see if Kyle can complete that and top Tony's feat this weekend. But definitely that's the big storyline on Sunday, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Are you favoring the Gibbs team? Are you favoring the Hendricks team? Are you favoring somebody else, Logano's team? Which way are you leaning?
Well, I'm certainly leaning toward those two, Hendrick or Gibbs. You look back at the record of the 600, but those two teams have won the last several races. You got Larson in there. Christopher Bell won this race last year, and he's just won the All-Star race. Different track, different scenario, understand all that. But, those two teams seem to be the teams that have dominated at Charlotte over the years. I think they'll be there. I kind of like William Byron in this race. I think Hendrick is still on top of their game right now, but I think the Gibbs cars will be tough as well.
All right, comments of Jeff Owens, who we spoke with earlier this afternoon. Appreciate Jeff being with us. Good luck finding the race. I can't wait to hear the bitching about this. Recruiting is coming up. Then George.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your holiday weekend forecast. Clear, refreshingly cool tonight with a low temperature dipping to 56. Tomorrow, similar to today, a blend of sunshine and clouds to go with a high at 81. For Sunday, it's a 40% chance of afternoon showers, 84 the high. And for Memorial Day, mostly cloudy, afternoon storms are possible, 83 is the high. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing our new healthy gluten-free menu. For your choices, we offer charbroiled certified Angus ribeye steak, juicy marinated grilled chicken dinner, fresh grilled salmon, authentic Greek salad, hamburger steak with grilled onions and melted cheese, shish kebab with grilled chicken, veggie blue plate with a choice of 4 vegetable selections, spring chicken salad, and of course, our famous slow-roasted pot roast. Come and enjoy a healthy gluten-free menu at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Now, with passage of President Trump's one big beautiful bill in the House of Representatives, focus now turns to the Senate. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the The legislation managed to reach a consensus among various congressional factions, and he warns that the Senate should not make any major changes. The Justice Department reaching a deal with Boeing. It will allow the aircraft maker to avoid criminal prosecution for allegedly misleading U.S. regulators concerning the 737 MAX jetliner before two of the planes crashed, killing more than 340 people. North Korea has begun steps to arrest and investigate those responsible for the failed launch of its second naval destroyer this week. Pyongyang says it was mainly a criminal negligence. This is SRN News.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
At Palmetto State Armory, we honor the legacy of those who laid down their lives in service to our great country with gratitude, respect, and an unwavering commitment to the freedom they fought for. This Memorial Day, we do more than enjoy a long weekend. We take a moment to reflect and remember that freedom isn't free. As a nation, we are the living monument to our soldiers' sacrifices, the very reason they volunteered to serve in the first place. From your friends at Palmetto State Armory, we offer a heartfelt salute to our heroes.
If you step out into H&J Cattle's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, time for the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by Seawell's Food Catering Service right here in Columbia, but serving people all over the state of South Carolina. Make sure you give them a call when you got that big event that needs the best in the catering service. Give them a call at 803-771-7385 or online. Check them out at SeawellsCateringSC.com. And, of course, next week, wonder how long they'll be closed next week for the Memorial Day holiday. I would assume, obviously, Monday. Probably back open on Tuesday. We'll have to double-check that to see. But when they are open, make sure you get over for the daily lunch and buffet every day from 11 till 2. That's at Seawell's. Recruiting-wise, tight end Tilden Riley of Orangeburg Prep wrapped up his baseball career, or baseball season, I guess I should say, They finished runner-up in the state playoffs for Skeeza. Now he's focusing on his recruiting as he moves forward with that. South Carolina heavily involved with Sean Elliott, the tight ends coach, and Shane Beamer, who made an offer in early April. Riley has 4 official visits lined up for June. South Carolina is going to get the final stop June 20th. Sean Elliott was by his school recently to check in and make sure everything was still on go for that visit. And he said everything is. They have a good relationship. And they've just been talking about recruiting and getting ready for this official visit. And he is looking forward to getting these official visits underway. He'll make his decision after that last official visit to South Carolina. Virginia Tech will get the first visit on May 30th. And then it will be West Virginia the next weekend. And Vanderbilt will follow that. And he'll be looking at things like the coaching staff and the culture, how he feels welcome at the particular schools. All of that will come into play as he tries to make his decision. Does South Carolina have an advantage being the home state school and being about 35 miles from his hometown? And he said, well, yeah, he has a great relationship with Sean Elliott, been going to games there for a long, long time, very, very familiar with South Carolina. All his friends are going to South Carolina. So he said, yeah, that kind of plays a factor in it, he guesses. Of course, he's an athletic tight end who can split out as well. Last season, 49 catches, 903 yards, and 13 touchdowns. South Carolina target, defensive tackle Brian Harris of Jacksonville, committed today to Oklahoma. Running back Carson Baker out of Fairburn, Georgia, has canceled his official visit to Clemson for next weekend. He's coming off an official visit to Florida last weekend. So, looks like Clemson is out of it with him. Offensive tackle Zachary Lewis of Sewanee, Georgia, has set an official visit to South Carolina for June 20th. He has Georgia Tech on May 30th, followed by Georgia and North Carolina. Taking a look at some official visits coming up this week of players we've been following coming up this weekend. You've got Keyshawn Stansel, defensive tackle from Clayton, North Carolina, scheduled to visit Miami. Teron Richardson, defensive tackle from Hopewell, Virginia, scheduled to visit Maryland. Travis Johnson, athlete from Chesapeake, Virginia, USC target, scheduled to visit Indiana. Another player South Carolina's offered, defensive end Keyshawn Eliezer of Raleigh, North Carolina, scheduled to visit Georgia Tech. And that's it. Those are the ones that we have down for now. Of course, that's totally unofficial. Things could change, and things will really kick into high gear with the official visits beginning next weekend. And that'll do it for the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells.
Eric can suggest.
Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day.
Okay, finally, after a very hectic day of baseball, softball, NASCAR, NIL, it's time to talk about the lovely game, the loveliest game. Some people say that soccer is the loveliest game. What do they call soccer, Bergie?
The beautiful game.
The beautiful game. Golf is the loveliest game. I think it's lovely because, I mean, in what other sport do you call a penalty on yourself? Everybody else is trying to cheat, hide their fouls, argue about their fouls and penalties. Not in golf. You cheat, you call it, not cheat, but you break a rule. You make a mistake on the golf course, you raise your hand and said, I did this, give me a stroke, give me 2 strokes. That's why George Bryan III, golf is the loveliest game.
Just, you never cease to amaze me, and that's a different and maybe the best intro yet. It's a lovely game. I go right along with that. And tell you what, we've had lovely weather, and I hope all out have golf in their plans this weekend. And speaking of plans, ours at the last minute had to change, and we got to jump right into it.
Go.
Drew Nix is going to join us for a high school roundup in just a bit. I can't wait to talk to her. I played golf a couple days with Norman Flynn, legend. We're going to mix it up over that as she informs us on the latest high school golf championships. Great announcement here in the Midlands, right here at Wood Creek Farms. Well, they announced today they will host 2026 Colonial Life charity event. The Corn Ferry Tour will host, Columbia, the Midlands will host its first ever Corn Ferry Tour event. And that was announced. Gene Hallman, Irmo graduate, 1978, I think, the leader of event sports, was in town to make that announcement. And yet another this is great news for golf, Chris Baker. We've talked about Chris quite a bit. He was scheduled to be on the show tonight. There's a lot going on with the announcement and celebration. He thought he could join us tonight. He, at the last minute, had other obligations that were set up that he could not meet this one, but he'll be on later. Okay. Chris Baker's a former PGA Tour player, current Corn Ferry Tour player, and he will be the first ever tournament director on any of the events, and he will be the tournament director for this event. It's a 5-year contract that was signed. And, Phil, so Columbia now will join Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, and Greenville as part of the Tour PGA family cities. What do you think about all that?
I think it's awesome. And, of course, don't forget, we've got the PGA Championship coming back to Kiowa in a few years. So, my goodness, we're going to be blowing up with great golf events when you think about it. Seriously now, this is not just blowing smoke. Harbortown is going great. They sell out every year with the RBC Heritage. The tournament up in the Corn Ferry tournament up in Greenville always does great. That Pro-Am brings in a bunch of terrific celebrities. George, I expect you to be playing in that event one day soon as an A-list celebrity. And, of course, the Myrtle Beach event, it's still young. It's still in its youth, but it's really taken off. And the crowds have been good. The galleries have been good. The field's been excellent. So that's terrific. Couple of PGA events, couple of Corn Ferry events, and then a major every so often. What can you say about golf in our state, George?
I think you said it all. This is becoming, I'll just call it, it's a cornerstone for golf in this country. And it has it's really neat to travel in different places, not in just in this country, but other parts of the world when we are recognized between Harbortown, Augusta. Now, we have Pinehurst. We don't oftentimes speak of that, but within 3 hours, 3.5 hours for sure, now we have Sea Island also. So you just mentioned Kiowa. And we haven't even mentioned the mountains. The Great Smoky Mountains has a few of the best golf courses around Mountaintop. Old Edwards, absolutely beautiful. Diamond Creek. You go over towards Atlanta on the way. I mean, it's like I said, it's a cornerstone.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, before we get to Drew, and she's standing by, so we can bring her on whenever you're ready, but I just learned about another course that I don't think we had talked about before. MJ Ward came through the studios last week on his way to Charlotte to cover the PGA, and before doing so, he had made a trip down to check out some courses, and there's a course down in, is it Ridgeville? That's got a very special course down that way. Do you know what I'm talking about? Are you familiar with it?
No, Ridgeway, or it's Ridgeland. Now, Congaree is...
No, it's not. It's not Congaree. It's
Cherokee.
something else.
Cherokee is in Walterboro. Cherokee, and it is an awesome. We've talked very little, if any, on this show. I'm not sure that name's even been mentioned on this radio show. That might be the number one most exclusive club.
Nope.
Even in this country.
The one I'm talking about, George, is Old Sawmill.
Old Sawmill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
That's I picked up a little piece of that. I'm not sure that one's open yet. Is it open?
I don't know.
I thought it was opening in the fall. That's kind of on the way to Charleston.
Play is limited to members at this private facility. It's on 1337 Cypress Campground Road near Ridgeville, Old Sawmill Golf Club.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's there's some folks out there laughing at us with our South Carolina geography, I'm sure. But I have heard the name. I thought it was somewhere in that neighborhood towards Charleston.
Well, here's what it says. Here's what it says. Located 30 miles northwest of Charleston, Old Sawmill Golf Club is an exclusive private golf club set to open in the fall of 24, spanning 465 acres of undulating farmlands adorned with panoramic open landscapes. Old Sawmill pledges to deliver impeccable playing conditions, 18-hole championship course, and a 9-hole par 3 known as the Lumber Yard. Huh.
Well, that sounds fun, doesn't it?
It does.
I love the name. I love the name, too. And we might have just cut off Drew Nix. Go ahead, Josh. Dial her back up.
Hey, George, we'll get her. This website asks for inquiries, and I'm going to put your name on there and send it in and suggest that I'm going to send your name in. I'm going to drop Wesley's name as well. It says, are you a clubs you are a member of? I'm not sure they'd be impressed by any of my memberships. Can I use Selena? Can I tell them I'm a member of Selena just by association?
I tell you, on this radio show, Phil, the way this goes, especially as we get late into the show,
yeah,
I'm telling you, the safety's off when it comes to the imagination. So do it, Phil. Just do it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a rejection email from them. But this play, I'm looking at some of the pictures that they have on their website that flash by you. Man, it's impressive looking, and I've never even heard of it before. It is one good-looking golf course. You got to check it out, George.
I have actually saw I saw a little, I guess I went to their website and I had heard about it. Can't wait to one day go see it and maybe even play it. Depends on how you set us up.
Really? Hey, Drew, standing by for you.
Hey, I tell you now, she has come in off the ocean to be on this radio show, and she was out. She was fishing offshore, and she got into the Spanish mackerel today, and she still came in. So let's go ahead and tee it up with Gilbert golf coach Drew Nix. She made it to the state championship. This is one of the greatest golf growers in South Carolina, and she is fun. Welcome, Drew.
Thank you, George. How's everybody?
We're ready to hear about the fishing story. How'd you do in those mackerel?
Oh, well, they were running, so we just happened to get into them and have some spoons on and caught a few, you know?
Hey, Phil, I called her this afternoon, and the service was kind of good, and she goes, hey, listen, I got to go. We got into a school of the mackerel, and I said, will you be on the show? She goes, I don't know. Depends on how it goes. So here we go. Drew, you got into some sea bass too, is that right?
We did. We caught some sea bass, and there were some spade fish out there. They just kept breaking off everything, but it was a good day on the water.
That's great.
We had a good day. We spoke briefly. Norman Flynn and David Herndon joined me in a round of golf at Selena Golf Club a couple days ago, and 86 years old, Hall of Fame, PGA life member, Norman Flynn absolutely put on a stripe show. it was amazing. And I understand you know Mr. Flynn and have for quite a while.
I do know Norman. His wife and I were roommates in college just a few years back, and I love Norman, and what little bit of golf I know, I pretty much learned from him. So I owe him a lot of gratitude for Norman. Good guy.
And his wife is Jan Flynn, and you all played at USC Aiken for a couple of years before she transferred to South Carolina. I know she was there because I probably wouldn't have gotten through Exercise Phys if it weren't for Jan Flynn. She's smart too.
Yes, we played basketball and volleyball together until she decided to devote full time to golf, and then transferred up to Carolina to pursue the golf. So.
What a great game! What a great game it is! And Drew, why don't you go ahead and enlighten us, talk to us about what happened across the state in high school golf.
Okay, well, we just finished up last week with all of the boys' state championships, so I'll just give you a rundown of how it all finished up. The 5A D1s played over at the Wildwood Club, and River Bluff actually ended up winning that state championship. It was real tight with Dorman and River Bluff going back and forth, and River Bluff pulled off a 3-stroke win there. And what's crazy about that, George, River Bluff did not even make the playoffs last year. And they came out this year with a very young team. They're going to be around for a while. And they were able to, it just went back and forth, and they ended up pulling that off. And for the individual title, they went into a 5-hole, it took 5 holes to break that individual title. And Will Ruth, a very fine player from Dorman, ended up winning that individual title in that division. And then we moved to the Division II 5A that was played at the Cliffs at Mountain Park. And T.L. Hanna won their 3rd consecutive championship with I believe it was a 4-stroke victory over Greenville, another very fine team. T.L. Hanna shot 570. They just a phenomenal team going right there. And moving over to 4A, that was played at
You can't just giggle. Drew, hold on. You just can't giggle right by the 570. Let's explain how this works. 4 scores and 5 players. 570, 600, that's 300 twice. That's 15, that's 285 a round. That's under par 2 consecutive rounds. That's ridiculous. That is great college golf.
That's 6 under for 2 days, and that's amazing. I mean, and Greenville was under par too. They were 2 under for 2 days, so they're just phenomenal golf with those 2 teams right there. And then moving on to the 4A, we played over at Cross Creek, which is such a challenging course up in Seneca. Beautiful facility. And Blue Ridge pulled off a 4-stroke victory over Bishop England there. That was just a wonderful match there. Blue Ridge shot 599, which is nothing to sneeze at that course either. Very, very beautiful facility. They were just treated us so well up there. That was just a delight to play there. And the 4As will be back there next year at that same facility. And moving on to the 3As, that was played at Newberry Country Club. And I do like to point out these courses, George, because it's just getting tougher and tougher to get courses to host these state championships.
Thank you, Drew.
They have to give up their courses for 3 days, a practice round day and then 2 days of play. And we just so much appreciate these courses and what they do, allowing us to have our championships there. But the 3A was played at Newberry Country Club, and Oceanside Collegiate pretty much ran away with that one. I think they won by about 25 strokes. And then Christchurch finished as the runner-up in that division. And then the 2As played at Sherrall State Park, which is a lovely place to play. And Philip Simmons, I think, won their first golf state championship there. And then the Chesney Eagles came in as the runner-up there, so good for Chesney.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Class A, your Dixie Hornets were your state champions in Class A.
Spectacular.
So, I'm not sure where they played. They played a couple of weeks earlier. They don't have as many schools, and their championship ends earlier. So that's pretty much your rundown for boys golf this spring.
I've got to give you a student report, and Phil, I don't know what we've done. Sully is holding out. He, I guess we got to re-sign him, a different contract.
Well, he's a graduate now. He's graduated, so his price has gone up. It's not the freebie that it used to be. Now he wants to eat. He's trying to eat off of us.
Hey, Drew, he big-timed me on the range at Salina just day before yesterday. And I just thought I'd bring it up. We might need to get you in as our broker. I mean, you are his coach, and that means you cannot represent both sides. We don't go for dual agency on this show. But hey, I hadn't seen him swing. He's got a great golf swing. And he was out with Ash, plays at Winthrop. They were having a great time. And anyway, picked up a little bit from him. Yeah, we got to – Drew, you do a great job. I also appreciate you pointing out the golf courses because that's big.
Hey, guys, before we lose you, because we're running out of time, I do want to update the South Carolina men, let y'all comment on this very quickly. They are through their first 6 holes at the men's championship. They're +9. They're in 25th place. Oklahoma and Illinois are leading at -8. So they one of the last ones, maybe the last ones to go out. And just like with the women, the afternoon wave had a real tough time in the women's tournament, the same course last week, and maybe that's the same thing going on with the guys here with the Gamecocks, George.
No question. In the afternoon out there, everything bakes out, makes it way more difficult. Not the greatest rotational draw, but they'll get their chance tomorrow in the morning. Drew?
No comment there.
Honestly,
Drew, I don't keep up with the college golf too much.
You do great with high school, and thank you so much for all you have done. Appreciate you being with us tonight. Drew Nix, you came off the ocean, got out, you left the fish to come in with lovely golfers. That new word tonight. Thanks a lot, Drew. You have a good evening.
All right, guys, y'all take care.
The loveliest game. Thank you, Coach. The loveliest game, George, golf. Loveliest game.
I also want to pay tribute. Roger Smith, just like Drew Smith, he is a great he's a growing machine. He is on the state high school golf committees. He's a leader on both the girls and the boys side. And he, of course, is the River Bluff golf coach. And there's that music. I want to thank our sponsor, Tsunami Bar Sports. TsunamiBarSports.com to check in on the best golf fitness equipment. And hey, I enjoyed it. Look forward to Chris Baker next week. And until then, tee 'em high but shoot 'em low, Phil.
Same to you, George. We thank you. That will do it. Thank you, Bergie.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed it this week.
Thank you, Plummer. Reminder, we will be live on Monday, Memorial Weekend night. Have a great weekend. See you then.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts